Our next speaker is somebody we all know. She's who mics everybody up for us. She does a really good job. I've seen her crawling on her knees up here, turning on lights, miking people up. Now she actually gets to stand up and present. So she may seem a little awkward at first, but she will do a wonderful job. The axe. Do we need the axe? Barbara Waugh. How? How? Yata hey. Barbara How. She's going to do 20 Shades of Wood. Barbara's a transplant to Colorado and Longmont, born in Wisconsin. She moved to Walsenburg. Nobody moves to Walsenburg. Colorado in 1973 after graduating from college with a nursing degree. Over the years, she migrated up I-25, residing in Walsenburg, Pueblo, cultural mecca and gateway to Fountain, Colorado Springs, where she worked as a nurse practitioner and internet health project manager. She and her husband Don lived for 15 years in northern New Mexico before moving back to Colorado, landing where? Longmont. Her passions are the outdoors, biking, hiking, and, oh, we won't read that out loud. What a passion, though. Her new passion is making nude videos of members of the Longmont Senior Center. Why? I'm sorry. Oh, making videos as a member of the Longmont Senior Center. Eyes on Longmont Video Club and Longmont Channel 8 Public Access TV. After helping Pachacacha for Longmont Channel 8 for the past 2 years, Barb is delighted to finally have an opportunity to be presented tonight with the axe. And for those of you that don't remember the song, but do you remember Lizzie Borden bought an axe, gave her mother, and when she was done,
she gave her father 41.
Folks, it's Barb.
Well, actually, the title of my presentation was 50 Shades of Wood because I thought that would pique your interest until Tony reminded me that PK only allowed 20 slides. So you guys only get 20 Shades of Wood. So where did my fascination or fetish with wood piles begin? It might have been in my formative years growing up in Wisconsin, where we spent summers at my grandfather's cottage on Lake Winnebago. There was a wood stove in the gathering room which would be lit on chilly mornings, and it was my job to stoke the fire and stack the wood box. Or could it have been when I was living in northern New Mexico for 15 years, when the wood piles like this were a common sight along every calle and in every llano. The piles were for the most part random, unstacked, free-formed, and unlike this one, had a cat or dog lying nearby. But I think it was in 2007 when my husband Don and I hiked the Tour de Mont Blanc around the peak that rises in the European Alps bordering France, Switzerland, and Italy, and my appreciation and awe began in earnest. Even my fellow hikers began noticing and pointing out wood piles for me to take pictures of. The following slides are those pictures. As I wandered, what determined the pattern and geometry of the pile? Was it a familial design, a family crest, perhaps one's genes, or maybe some of these folks managed to buy one of Richard Joude's used slide rules on eBay? Firewood is a renewable resource. Cutting firewood through thinning in some areas can quickly reestablish a traditional woodland habitat. It might have been a decline in this type of practice that has led to the loss of some of our most attractive woodland wildlife habitats and protection from wildfires. Turning trees into firewood is just a start once the trees have been felled and limbed. You want firewood that fills your stove but's not too large. Logs need to be bucked into rounds that are 2 to 3 inches shorter than the length of the width of your wood box. The wood has to be split in order to dry. It should be split to a maximum width of 6 inches in a variety of different sizes, so there are more options when kindling or stoking the fire. You can use unsplit pieces, but you should remove the bark from unsplit pieces. The key elements for stacking the wood is to get it off the ground, expose it to sun and wind so it dries quickly. Therefore, finding the right spot to stack wood can be critical for drying. Under an evergreen may seem like a good location, but the shade can slow the drying process dramatically. Flat areas are preferable to uneven terrain, especially if you are stacking on a pallet. Wherever you decide to stack, be absolutely sure the wood is at least 30 feet from your home so that the firewood doesn't become a source of fuel that could damage or destroy your home. The platform on which the wood is stacked is an important part of the drying process. If the runners you use as a base are too narrow or rotting, the bottom layer of wood may absorb water from the ground. Work to get the bottom layer of the stack at least 4 to 6 inches off the ground. The base should be level and well seated so your pile doesn't topple over. People have different opinions on what the stack should look like. The rank and chimney styles are most common. The term rank comes from ranked and well stowed, used for measuring a cord, a single row of stacked wood. A freestanding rank is the best way to dry your wood. End supports can be posts driven into the ground or cribs at either end. To create a crib, place 3 or 4 pieces parallel to each other at the start of the rank, then stack 3 or 4 pieces on top of those oriented 90 degrees from the first 2. Continue this process till you have reached the desired height for the rank, and then pile your firewood between these cribs. The next thing to decide is, do you want to cover your stack? Some people say there's no need to cover. They believe covers inhibit drying. Others say the effect of rain on the stack is significant, so a cover is warranted. If you're going to cover your stack, ensure that the cover does not hang over the side, which can trap moisture and slow drying. So by now, you're probably wondering, which type of firewood is the best for burning? This is addressed in the Firewood poem by Celia Congreve, believed to be first published in the Times newspaper on March 2nd in 1930. Beechwood fires are bright and clear, if the logs are kept a year. Chestnuts only good, they say, if for logs 'tis laid away. Make a fire of elder tree, death within your house will be. But ash new or ash old is fit for a queen with a crown of gold. Birch and fir logs burn too fast, blaze up bright, and do not last. It is by the Irish said, hawthorn bakes the sweetest bread. Elmwood burns like churchyard mold. Even the very flames are cold. But ash green or ash brown is fit for a queen with a golden crown. Poplar gives a bitter smoke, fills your eyes and makes you choke. Applewood will scent your room. Pearwood smells like flowers in bloom. Oaken logs, if dry and old, keep away the winter's cold. But ash wet or ash dry, a king shall warm his slippers by. So it seems like ash is the one. Actually, my favorite wood pile of all is our wood pile at a cabin at 10,500 foot elevation in the Mosquito Range near Fairplay, where for the past 33 years, every piece of wood has been felled, limbed, bucked, split, and stacked by me and my co-owner Ann and our husbands Don and Tom.
I'm glad you all had enough sense to applaud when there's a woman up front with an axe. Now let me axe you. No. Very well done. You all have a different appreciation for that, right? I one time my wife and I, when we first met and lived together, decided one year to warm our house with wood, a wood burning stove. So we did that. Well, at the time, thank God we had a water bed in those days that was warm. But we would warm the house with wood, but in the morning when you came downstairs, you had to basically get the cooking oil and throw it out in chunks because it would gel. And then one day her grandparents came to visit us, and my wife, trying to be nice and polite, said, "Grandma, let me take your coat." So she let her take it for about 5 minutes, and then she said, "Could I have my coat back?" So, it's different stories, different places.